Hey everyone, it's Brian from Ultimate Upland, and you are watching the Upland Game Show, where we talk about the outdoors, days afield, and ask questions about Upland to try and determine the winner of Bird Brain Trivia. Joining me tonight, maybe the biggest advocates for the ruffed grouse in the state of Ohio. We've got Greg Goebel and Gretchen Finneff. Welcome, guys. Love seeing you. Been a long time, I think. Too long.
Thanks for having us, Brian. We appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
So who's more nervous this evening about the trivia? Who do you think has the advantage in this scenario?
He's been talking smack to me all day, so he thinks he's got this.
I think I got it.
You guys have watched.
You know, I've been seeing some of the other episodes, and these questions they're not easy. So I don't know.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is you guys have seen some of the other episodes, so you kind of know how it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's start off first of all. Maybe tell everyone. I like to start off with kind of your hunting crew, how you got started hunting, and what kind of dogs you're using. If you're using dogs, I know these things about you guys, but not everybody else does. And so, why don't we start with ladies first? Gretchen, how'd you get started in upland hunting?
Well, I met this guy, and so it was a little over 4 years ago, and he was telling me what he was into, and I actually knew another Ruffed Grouse Society member, Pete Armstrong, who's in the chapter, longtime member. He and I were in Rotary together for years, so I've always heard about upland hunting through Pete, and then when I met Greg, I'm like, well, I'll come to a meeting, and that's how it all got started.
I'll start.
Well, what about the dogs? I mean, do you claim your own dog in this scenario, Gretchen, or are you sharing dogs?
Yeah, well, we share dogs because my guy Monk, who is our boot polisher. He loves to go hunting, but he's more about hanging out, walking the trail with us, while the other two do the job for us.
We have a couple of English setters that we run, and they do most of the work. The senior dog just kind of hangs out with us.
Yeah.
Well, you guys would say that my labs are boot polishers too, right? I mean, you don't believe in that lab stuff, do you?
No, yours do a little bit more work than Monk. Monk, he will swoop in and claim victory from the setters when he gets the opportunity. There's no doubt.
That a boy. Well, Greg, what about you? How'd you get started in upland hunting, and when was that?
I got started at a pretty early age. My mom's side of the family has a farm down in the southern central part of Kentucky. So I grew up. I didn't grow up down there, but I got acclimated down there. My grandfather has a farm down there, and started out rabbit and quail hunting for the most part down in that part of Kentucky. And then it just started to kind of evolve from there. So I got involved with the Ruffed Grouse Society 5-6 years ago here in Cincinnati, and now I'm just ate up with it, get a couple setters, and try to do as much as I can.
Well, now you're not. I mean, you're more than involved with the Ruffed Grouse Society. You're actually, I mean, you lead the chapter down there, correct?
Yeah, I'm the chapter president. So I've been the president for probably 4 years now. Here in the Cincinnati chapter, so we're a pretty active chapter. We do a lot of stuff here. We have a lot of events we do throughout the summer, sporting clay shoots, and of course we have the banquet that we try to do, and then we do other things, like we have a dog training event that we do in September, and then we try to do chapter hunts, try to get a bunch of members together to either go to Michigan and hunt, or we hunt around here locally as well too. Thank you. We try to keep it active as much as we can.
Let's jump into some questions, but I want to remind everybody of the rules. So I've got a series of questions here. Each question, closest answer will be awarded at a point. The winner of after a series of questions is going to receive the prized Ultimate Upland hat.
Nice.
Of course, the cooler decal.
Nice.
And your Cabela's $25 gift card.
That's a new call.
And I'm only going to send one, so there's no sharing of those things. This is a winner takes all. Probably in your house, it's as much about bragging rights, I'm guessing. But what I'm really looking forward to is, as we've said in previous episodes, there is no second place. If you ain't first, you're last. And so to make things a little bit interesting, we always have a punishment involved for the person who comes out last. And your household, as I understand it, has decided that the loser gets whipped cream face.
That's right.
Little pie to the face. I like those odds. That's dedication. Certainly speaks to you guys putting it on the line. So let's jump right in. You got your pad of paper and pen?
Oh, yeah.
We're ready.
We're ready.
Well, we've established your dog, people. And so I generally like to include a dog question. You probably knew this was coming, but you probably didn't know what question was going to come at you. How many teeth does an adult dog have?
Oh, doggone it.
I'm going to let you think on that for a second. And part of the reason I asked that question is just because we think about dogs as being soft mouth, and you don't want those dogs' teeth in your birds when they bring them back up to you. Of course, some of my younger labs have always gnawed those birds pretty good, and younger dogs actually do have fewer teeth. But adult dogs, they have a set number. You got your number written down?
I got it.
We got it. We're locked in.
Let's see them.
32.
32 for Gretchen, 24 for Greg, and with the early lead, adult dogs have 42 teeth. Gretchen scores a point. Have your dogs had to have any teeth extracted ever? I mean,
So far, so good.
No, good
So far,
lucky
so
there.
good.
but since you guys know a lot about grouse,
Okay.
question number 2.
All right.
According to the Cornell lab, what is the max wingspan of a ruffed grouse? And I'm going to ask you for it in inches.
So wingspan as in
Tip to tip.
tip to tip, both out.
They, as you guys know, I mean, obviously, depending on the age of the bird, that can vary greatly, and that's why they give you a range. But the top of the range is what I'm asking for.
Okay.
Got your answers written down?
I got mine.
This is actually getting exciting. I'm hoping that we keep an even race here, but you know, it could be anybody's. All right, let's see them.
All right.
Gretchen 18, Greg 16. According to the Cornell lab, max wingspan 25.2 inches.
Dang.
Gretchen taking a serious lead. It's starting to get real now. I'm starting to feel it with you. I don't know that you guys have been probably hunting grouse. I know, Greg, you've been hunting grouse probably longer than I've been hunting ruffed grouse. But I don't know that I've ever had a bird with a 25-inch wingspan tip to tip. That's a monster bird. That's probably a 3-year-old.
That's a big bird, right?
So you guys, your involvement with RGS, and RGS has had some, I won't call it turmoil, I'll call it upheaval recently. They announced a new model. Greg, you guys did a Zoom meeting that you had forwarded to me with some of the leadership there, the change in that model. And a lot of this has to do with what's going on in the economy right now, but it also has to do with, as you and I have acknowledged together in the past, that this conservation model, we've got to start making changes because we're not seeing any improvements to bird numbers. So that new model, maybe just, I won't make you do the dissertation on it, but tell me about what your feelings are on the new model, because I knew there's been some mixed reviews of that, and just let me know what your general thoughts are.
Well, I'm pretty positive on it. I think this is probably something that should have been done years ago with RGS. It looks like a viable model from a standpoint of being able to get more ruffed grouse habitat on the landscape, being able to affect more acres. So anyway, one of the things that I'm excited about is that, you know, and like I said, was with Mark Wiley, he had mentioned one time to us about the fact that, you know, with grouse habitat, there's an economic incentive to create that habitat because of all the money you have in cutting timber to create that habitat. Whereas that's not necessarily the case with quail or pheasant. You're trying to pay farmers to leave their, not plant in row crops and trying to leave that in grassland for those species. So I think the light bulb finally went off in RGS's collective minds there to say, let's start using that. Let's try to take the market forces we hope that are in timber cells and tap into that and try to use that to drive more habitat on the ground. So I think that's kind of the bottom line of what they're trying to do with the new model. And to me, it just makes a lot of sense. And I hope that, once this gets going, they can really start to impact a lot more landscapes than what they've done in the past.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I think that it's the battle to try and battle against economic forces in conservation is generally a lost cause. It always costs more and more and more for less and less return. So to get on board with those economic principles is certainly an interesting thought. If for those of you that want to look into more about it, and obviously I've watched your conversation with the leadership, but I believe they call it stewardship forestry, which is what is the program that they're basing the new model off of primarily, as I understand it. And that's coming out of the National Forest Service. So it would be in partnership with the National Forest Service, although they think that they can roll those concepts out at the state level.
Right.
But that leads us to our third question.
Okay.
How many national forests does the state of Ohio have? That looked like you guys you got it down. So the good question is I've got a follow up if you both get the answer correct. All right, let's see them. I knew you guys would know that. You're both correct. There's only one national forest in the state of Ohio. I think that's the thing when I look at this new model that concerns me, is that we've only got Wayne National Forest. Now, it's a big national forest.
Right.
They're going through a plan process.
And so that crosses 12 counties. But let's do the follow-up question to see who's right on this one. How many acres is in Wayne National Forest?
Ooh, you might get this one. Okay.
All right, let's see them. With 55,000, Gretchen, and 250,000, Greg. Greg, it is 244,265. You have made the score.
You got on the board.
Greg.
Way to go, honey.
Thanks.
Now, understand that the state of Ohio has about 26 million acres, so Wayne National Forest only encompasses about 1%.
Right.
Again, I think we've got a lot to talk about with the new model. I think that it's going to be important, and I'm interested to see how it goes. But I have concerns still. But I know it's stuff that we're going to have to work through in the future, anyways.
Absolutely.
Shotgunning. I always try and include a shotgunning question. Either one of you lefties?
Nope.
No.
We're both righties.
Both righties.
What do you carry to the field? 12 gauge, 20 gauge? What do you? Well, let's stick it with rough grouse. What are you using in the rough grouse woods primarily?
I use my CZ 20 gauge side by side.
And I do a Franke 20 gauge over and under.
Okay, and what number of shot are you using?
7.
7 shot.
7 shots for rough grouse. Even late season when it gets a little wild, you dropping down to 6s ever?
We do custom loads. So.
We load our own, so we do 7 shot, which you don't find that very often in lead. It's usually 7.5, so we're doing 7 shot.
Yeah. And even worse. So, have you guys ever have you contemplated the whole non-tox shot debate?
In waterfowl we have.
Well, it's not even a debate anymore. That's law.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we use quite a bit of that for waterfowl.
Exactly.
We really haven't run into too many areas where if we're chasing upland that we have to use the non-toxic shot. There was a place we did wild woodcock hunting down in Kentucky last year that we had to use non-toxic for that.
Waterfowl production areas, generally speaking,
it was close to water. It was close to a waterway, so the fields and the
wildlife area they had non-tox only. So we were down there woodcock hunting, so we had to use steel shot for that.
That's interesting because I always I always question myself when we talk about woodcock because they're a migratory species.
Right.
I always question myself going, wait, what are the regs? You know, I think about that every time I'm out there going, wait, don't I have to use non-tox, don't I? Not technically, you don't.
No.
Although woodcock are often found in marshy areas, obviously. So,
Right.
you know,
It might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. What about when you're shotgunning? Are you guys both eyes open people, or do you close one eye?
I use both eyes open.
I try to do both eyes open. It doesn't always work out that way.
So the traditional thought process for people who are professional shooters or trap shooters or whatever, and I won't say trap shooters because sometimes trap shooters use a block on their off eye. But most shotgunners keep both eyes open. It's something different than rifle shooters. For those of you who don't do a lot of shooting out there, it's something to know that we're keeping both eyes open. You guys probably know this, and I'll explain this a little bit to folks out there, is when you're mounting the shotgun, actually, I don't see the barrel. I just had this conversation with one of my friends, and once you know where the gun belongs on your shoulder and on your cheek, you don't even see the barrel. Okay. So a lot of people are focused on whether they have a true glow sight out there or what color their little bead is out front. And I go,
I don't even see it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my object.
It becomes more instinctual.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this leads to our fourth question.
Okay.
All right.
There was a study done in 2005 by 3 scientists. I can't pronounce their names, so I'm assuming they look German or Swedish. Okay. But the name of the study was eye preference within the context of binocular functions.
Oh boy.
So most people are right-handed shooters.
Yeah.
Most people are right eye dominant. What % of people are left eye dominant according to this study?
Left eye dominant.
Left eye dominant. There are people out there who shoot what I call quote unquote cross-eyed, which they are right-handed shooters, but left eye dominant, but they can close their off eye and account for it. The way we normally would instruct somebody if they were brand new to shotgunning, the way I would instruct somebody is if you're left eye dominant, you learn to shoot left-handed, even if you're right-handed. It would make you a better shotgunner in the broad scheme of things, but it's not necessarily the way people go.
Okay.
Got your number written down?
Got our numbers.
Yep.
What % of your people are left eye dominant?
I said 12%.
Whoa, that's close. And Greg said 11%. According to this study, 32% of people are left eye dominant.
Yes.
Puts Gretchen back out there in front. 3-1 going into the last question.
Oh boy, Goebel. Get ready, buddy.
I don't think I can win now. I'm already lost.
Let's seal the deal.
Let's seal it, right? It might be sealed already. I really didn't expect that because traditional thought is that only like 17% of people are left-handed.
Right.
So I was reading into this. I was going, wait a second, 32% are left eye dominant. It has to do with obviously the size of your brain and how they're calculating this.
I'm left eye dominant.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And you shoot right-handed?
But I still shoot right-handed because that's the way I was always taught.
Yeah.
With both eyes open.
Yeah.
I've got a buddy who shoots, and he can shoot either hand. He's right eye dominant, but when he shoots left-handed and he keeps both eyes open, and I've tried it, it's garbage. Like the sight picture for me, I can't figure it out, and he's able to do it because I figure that his dominance level between the two eyes is probably less. But I think my right eye, and again, I'm no scientist. You scientists out there that want to yell at me for this assessment, go start yelling now because I'm probably dead wrong. But I feel like my right eye is so dominant that I can't, when I try and switch left-handed, it totally messes me up.
Right.
I don't think I could go left.
So we talked about you guys being out there turkey hunting. You're not taking your dogs out for that. I'd like to take my dogs out turkey hunting one time. I think it'd be awesome. That's Wyatt. That's not me. That's Wyatt in the background.
I see him.
I see him.
He's
he was readjusting.
Yeah,
We're
that's
falling out.
so. That's the net result of his LARPAR surgery. You guys probably saw
Yes,
that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I remember that.
he has his one side of his larynx is tied back now, so he can
Yep.
breathe. Yeah, that's the net result. That wonderful noise. It really makes you get up fast in the middle of the night. You're like, whoa.
Oh, yeah, I had an Irish setter that had that condition, and she sounded like Darth Vader on a regular basis.
He now, so his bark now is like this really crazy, raspy, whiny.
Yeah.
He never had a really deep bark. I think he's always had a portion of this, affecting because, he's a big dog, but he's never had that big male dog voice. But now he's got this super strange voice. Cracks me up. But what are you guys doing for training in the off season besides turkey hunting, which isn't technically training?
I hate to say
Preserves.
We've done some preserve hunts, but
they still have birds left down there.
We do, but with this pandemic that we hit, we've been
really, working a ton.
We haven't really been out as much as
I try to get out and kick. Our male Riley, he's a retrieving fool. I mean, I could spend all day outside just throwing balls for him, and he would just go if he had his preference. So I try to take a couple breaks throughout the day of work and go out there and throw the ball for him, just to keep him going. And we're fortunate we do have a large yard, so the dogs get a lot of in and out. I mean, the door is literally propped open all day for them to go, access themselves to the outside. So.
Well, in the woods this weekend, did you guys happen to see any of these little visitors?
Actually, we did.
We did.
We had a couple riders that came home with us. And
how creeped out are you by those?
We're totally creeped out because we've had quite a few friends that have had a battle of the Lyme's disease, and it's not a pretty thing. So we are always, I mean, I honestly, there's been times where I've literally stripped in a pub, in the parking lot after coming out of the woods just to do a check before I got in the car because they've been so bad.
If I ever see a tick get as big as that one that they've got there on the left.
Yes.
That's
an engorged tick.
Somebody, that's a nightmare.
Yes.
I don't know what somebody's going to have to do to wipe my brain, but it's going to happen. But ticks brings us to our next question.
Okay.
I liked that picture. So I wanted to test you guys on your tick knowledge. At Georgia Southern University, the U.S. National Tick Collection resides. It's the world's largest curated tick collection. It has over 1 million specimens. Used to be a part of the Smithsonian, but Smithsonian, it got so big that they had to loan it. So they loaned it to Georgia Southern University.
Wow.
Over 1 million samples of ticks. It must be that's just a nightmare in a building. I don't know where that is.
That just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh, it freaks me out. But how many species are in the collection?
Oh.
Is this worldwide collection?
Or is this?
Yeah, because this has got to be worldwide because there's not that many species in this country, and if there were, I'd never go outside.
Oh boy. Okay. Since it's worldwide.
Okay.
Let's see it.
I said 247.
Greg said 104. The answer is 860 species of ticks in the collection. A full-on spanking.
Oh my God.
Has just been accomplished. Gretchen, 4-1 with the final question. You are the winner of the prized Ultimate Upland hat, the $25 gift card, and the decal. Thanks for playing, guys. I certainly appreciate you coming on and being a part of this and giving us information. Gretchen's making her pie right now.
Preparing a pie.
And I don't think she's holding back. It looks like she's loading up. Wow.
That was the whole can.
That was the whole can.
Wow. Whoa. Okay, hang on. I got to make sure that we got the right view up.
Go ahead. Just do it. Get it over with.
All right, baby.
Oh! And it's all fun and
was
games
so
on the
worth it.
Upland Game Show.
That was so worth it.
Maybe
pretty
the
good.
best punishment we've seen so far on
Right.
any episode.
Oh,
You
it's
guys
better than the cream.
are dedicated
It wasn't
Upland
soon.
people. I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Well,
Great
thank you for having
sports. You got anything to plug?
Wow.
Actually, I know you got something to plug because I'm supposed to be there. Let's see. Let's hope it still goes down. Talk about your banquet if we can get
So
it. to come up.
basically, yeah, I appreciate that. So we, typically the Ruffed Grouse Society's annual banquet season runs from that March to May timeframe. And we actually are hosting ours outside of that perimeter because of, circumstances. So we are having ours. It's scheduled right now for June 13th at Ivy Hills Country Club. And we do have a rain date of August 15th in case we have to push it out. But we are totally on board with having our event this year. And we're actually inviting any chapter member from the whole state of Ohio to Kentucky and Indiana. Everyone is welcome to come to our event. So we just got this, our mailers just hit everybody's post office, this week. So we're looking forward to hosting our event this year.
Yeah, I think it would be a great opportunity. We've kind of talked about that, Gretchen, and because other chapters have probably had difficulties scheduling their banquets or may have been totally put off by the current situation. Your banquet offers a unique opportunity. We're certainly hoping that by then the ability to gather will be back upon us. So looking forward to that banquet, and I think it'll be a great opportunity if you're interested in an upland game in the state of Ohio. I think everybody should try and get to that banquet. Support Ruffed Grouse Society, but also open a channel of communication about what's going on in the state, because we need to have these conversations.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks again for coming on. It was great seeing you guys. Everybody who's watching, make sure you smash that subscribe button down there. If you want to come on the Upland Game Show and challenge your significant other, or anyone for that matter, you are welcome to come on. Of course, follow us on all the other social channels. It's Ultimate Upland all the time. Thanks again, Greg and Gretchen. Awesome episode, and look forward to seeing you guys in person.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brian.
See you, Brian. Thanks.